Hey everybody, my name is Lauren and welcome to Caught Up in a Book with Lauren. Today I am going to bring you another book review for the culture. If you are new here, please like, share, and subscribe this video. I bring you book reviews and more for the culture. Today's video is a book review of a genre that I am new to. I am just discovering this genre, and it is the interracial romance genre. So the the very first video on this channel is a review of an interracial romance book, and it was suggested to me via another YouTube channel, and I checked it out, and I was kind of sort of not thrilled. That particular book was a black woman and a white man, and it also was a work relationship romance type thing. So that particular book did not hit it for me. I wasn't impressed. I didn't dislike it, but I definitely did not like it. So, but I was and am intrigued a little bit. I hate to admit it, but it's the truth. I am a little bit intrigued by the genre, because as I look for that one book, more books, they get suggested to you, and it's a whole thing, y'all. It's a whole thing. They have black woman, white man, which is BWWM. They also have like black woman, Asian man. They have black man, white woman. I didn't see any black man, Asian woman, but I'm sure they are there. I have seen white man, Asian women. So the genre is wide open, okay? And there is a lot that can be explored in the genre overall, I'm saying, because it's so much more truthfully in the world than, black, white, and Asian. But those are the three races that I have seen highlighted in the genre. And they all have books on top of books on top of books on top of books in Kindle, Amazon, the library. They are available. So if that's what you're looking for, if that's what you're interested in, and that's what you're looking for, there's definitely plenty of material out there. And if you were looking for that genre, that representation, I guess, it's out there. So this book, he thought he had life figured out, but he had no idea. Summer Madison is the opposite of everything Maxwell Sutton finds attractive in a woman, and yet here he is fighting powerful feelings for the new personal assistant his brother hired while he was out of town. Everything about her is wrong, yet his thoughts are consumed with nothing but her. Determined to do anything he can to stay away from her, Maxwell develops a no fraternization clause to the company policy, but rules and logic only last for so long. When the attraction between the two of them becomes too much to contain, Maxwell finds himself violating the very policy that he himself put into effect. Now that he's had a taste, he knows he can never say no to her again. And it reiterates that downfall is an age gap office romance. So let's get into the book. Got a slight introduction. The book starts with Summer, and Summer is working at a marketing agency that is owned by the Sutton brothers. So the brother that she works hand in hand with is David Sutton. David is cool, bachelor. I would say see him as like a fraternity, frat house, white boy type, okay? Their family comes from money. They have plenty of money, but he still seems to be cool and relatively down to earth. Summer is there. This is her first job that she is working as an kind of like an official adult. She has finished her college and got her college degree, and this is her first job in like corporate America. So of course she's grown, but now she grown. I believe she is 23. So this is her first job, and she loves it. She loves it. The thing is, the company is owned by two brothers. David is the cool brother, the one she knows, and she's had a year working with him. They are cool. There is another brother. He is nicknamed the Sullen Sultan. The Sullen Sutton. His name is Maxwell. And Maxwell right now is just a figment of Summer's imagination. She's never met him or seen him or anything like that because he's been gone on, I guess, like sabbatical for a year. Unfortunately, Max and his first wife divorced. And after that divorce, I don't know if he lost himself, needed to find himself, needed a break, like a really real break. But he goes to Florida for a year and is away from his job, away from his work, away from his family, and just away. So one day, Maxwell pops back up at work. He doesn't announce it to anyone. No one knows who's coming, not even his own brother. And unfortunately, Summer was late for work that day. So the meeting had kind of started. She was late, but she went into the meeting, took a seat, and she felt like Maxwell was just staring at her. Of course, at this point, they've never met. They've never been introduced. And when they are formally introduced, she extends her hand to him, tries to shake his hand, and he does nothing. Absolutely nothing. He will not shake her hand. I think he barely really spoke to her, and it was a true turnoff to her, which I understand because he did it in front of everybody. So after that, Summer is like, let me go get my resume together. It's time for me to start looking for another job, because why would I want to work here where somebody is being so, rude to me like Maxwell was when they first met? And unfortunately for them, it doesn't get any better. It does not get better. She finds herself catching him, looking at her strangely, avoiding her, doing a little topsy-turvy. You know how you kind of walk and then you're stuck in the hallway and y'all both going to the same side and you can't get out of it? That sort of thing. They keep getting into these awkward situations. And to make things worse, she is now working for David and Maxwell. She's their personal assistant until Maxwell can hire his own. She has to be responsible for being both of their personal assistant. So she's doing her best to, talk to him and interact with him via just the computer or over the phone. But he does little weird, strange things like tell her to come to his office and then say, well, can you order me some coffee? Things like that. And she's like, well, you could just send me a message, this, that, and the other. Trying to be nice, but he kind of weird. Very weird in the very beginning of this book. So Summer, again, she's only 23 and Maxwell is 41. So because I have worked in situations that were, I ain't gonna say similar to this, but at one point I did have a white male co-worker who was technically, I guess he was my superior, and we used to be at work, just the two of us at the time, and it would just be so quiet. I didn't have nothing to talk to him about. He didn't have nothing to talk to me about. And I was okay with that, but I did realize that it was awkward. I did realize that sometimes when other people were there, I did realize that sometimes if other people were there and maybe we had 3 people or 4 people working instead of just the 2 of us, that there was more conversation going on. It was more inside conversation versus just talking to the people that we were working with, the customers. So I had to think really long and really hard about how I could attempt to connect with this man. Not necessarily on the romance type stuff, but just so it wouldn't be super awkward. So I wouldn't have to be that, angry black woman. And he never said anything to me about it. No one ever did, but I was just trying to bridge a gap because it was just quiet. So in my case, we both had sons. He had like a newborn son. Not newborn. He was probably under 3, a little son. And he had a son and I had a son. So my son at the time was probably like 8 or 9. But I said, hey, boy parents, okay? We both got sons. And he was a Atlanta Braves fan. And my grandmother was a huge Atlanta Braves fan. And so I am as well, kind of by way of her. I have really fallen off now that I don't have her here to, be into the games for real. But I still, I know the history. I like them enough. I can watch a baseball game and truthfully know what's going on versus football. I be winging it sometimes with football. So I was like, okay, we're going to talk about baseball and we're going to talk about our sons. And at the time, the Braves had just moved to Cobb County and we worked in Cobb County. So I was like, here we go. There's something to talk about. So I said all that just to say sometimes you do have to, when you're in the workplace, you have to find a way to bond with people so it can be, a pleasant experience. You ain't got to be BFFs, none of that, but you do sometimes have to think outside of the box, I guess. Anyway, so one day, Maxwell walks in on Summer having lunch with Olivia, who is her workplace BFF, and a guy named Kevin, who I would say is kind of like her work husband. We later find out that Kevin is gay, but he still was like a work husband. You always need a work husband at work too, okay? Anyway, so he sees them having lunch, and I guess he figured because Summer is black and Kevin is black that they were hooking up. They were hooking up. So at this point, he's still in denial about his true feelings, but he sends out an email to the company saying, no fraternization. We have a no fraternization policy, this, that, and the other. So everybody's like, well, what is he talking about? That's weird. Okay. But still, he notices that the 3 of them still are going to lunch, hanging out, chilling, doing their thing. So they're not necessarily, goofing off during their work hours. They doing stuff on their lunch hour, on their personal time. And he is jealous. Jealous. One day, Max and his brother David are about to go to lunch. They get on the elevator, and the 3 of them, Olivia, Summer, and Kevin, are also on the elevator going to lunch. And so David, being his little chipper self, is like, where y'all going? What's lunch on us, basically. Lunch on us. Let's all go to lunch. And that's what they do. They don't sit together. They're probably like, let's see if you get in the booth. They are a booth apart. So Max and his brother at one booth, an empty booth in between them, and then the 3 of them are at the other booth. So she sees him, Max sees them, looking at pictures of guys and muscles. And in that moment, he's like, oh my God, I got to get in the gym. Cameron, keep it down. Thank you. He's like, oh gosh, I got to get back in the gym. He's a 41-year-old man. He got to get back in the gym. But she was saying, oh, he looks, saying that whoever the person was looks good, but, it takes a lot of dedication, this, that, and the other. And Summer says she'd rather her man be at home, okay, with her than in the gym all the time. So I can understand that. She said, forget it. He said, forget it. I don't have to do that no more. But he hears their conversation and hear that they're going to some club or some bar on, let's say, Saturday night. And now he basically introduces himself. Well, he basically includes himself. Did I say introduces? Oh my God. And now he basically invites himself. He includes himself. Slick includes himself and is planning to show up at that bar on Saturday night. Summer was going on a blind date with Kevin's brother at this Saturday night hookup. They get there, the three of them, hanging out and everything, having a good time. And of course, they see their bosses when they walk in. The two of them come over to their table and, talk to them, blah, 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 blah. And then they end up going back and sitting at the bar. Summer feels her boss, Max, staring at her the whole time. And at some point, Summer gets up, they're dancing, they having fun. And she was twerking. It was funny to hear his character describe the twerking. But, she was twerking and he was fascinated. He was fascinated because I see how a good twerk can be fascinating, okay? And B, Summer really isn't his typical girl. The typical girl that he goes for, the typical girl that he's into. According to him, he likes a leggy blonde with big boobs. And I said, well, that's spot on for what I think a lot of white guys like. But Summer is like the exact opposite of that. I think she's relatively short. She is a flatter chested woman. So she's probably a triangle shape. If you know the shapes of body styles, she would be like a triangle shape. She's got hips and butt and thighs. Okay. So, Summer got some ties to the motherland with all that ass. Anyway, so she is not his typical, what he goes for. So he is really flabbergasted by the fact that he finds that intriguing about her. And I think it is kind of, I don't know if it's simple. I don't know what it is. But to say that, oh, I only date this type of person or blah, 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 is kind of like, do you have eyes? Because it's people that are outside of that box that also are attractive, that look good, that are sexy, cute, fine, whatever. And it just may not be for me. But that doesn't mean that I would just discard them, immediately. Because you might get to know them and it's like, oh, you know what? I thought I didn't like your bald head, but you know what? I'm going to oil your scalp. I thought I was going to brush your waves, but I think I just have to oil your scalp. Okay? Gotta work around things sometimes. Anyway. And I guess women tend to do that a whole lot more than men do, but that's another discussion for another day. But okay, this is where things get semi-weird, in my personal opinion. But she goes to the bathroom. The bathroom is downstairs in the club slash bar. And this man follows her with a quickness to the bathroom area. So she knows he followed her or kind of suspects that he followed her. She uses the bathroom and then she, puts her head out to, see if the coast is clear, which is not something I would do in a normal circumstance. See if the coast is clear, and then he barges in the bathroom with her. So it's a single stall bathroom. He barges into the bathroom with her. Let me tell you something. When I tell you all the hell I would have raised in that moment, okay? I don't care if it is somebody you know, okay? In that situation, and if you're not a blood relative of mine that I know ain't super crazy, what is you doing, okay? So she wasn't, actively using the bathroom. It's just the way, what I don't know what is going on. Anyway, in the bathroom, they share, a heated kiss, a heated moment, or whatever. But he also manages to kind of put her down at the same time, telling her that she's flat chested and that, you know, he doesn't like girls that look like her. And she doesn't hear him, giving features, blonde hair. Anybody can have blonde hair, you know what I'm saying? In 2023, anybody can get some blonde hair. But I will say he's mainly saying features. He's not saying I like a pale skinned, this, that, any other. Blonde hair, which of course kind of leans toward a white woman, but blonde hair, long legs. Anybody can have long legs. That's not something that goes by race per se. And then big boobs. And you can buy some boobs if you ain't got them, but that's just like features versus things that are like related directly to her race. But all she hears is that you don't like black girls. I'm a black girl, but you still up in here trying to get with me. The interesting thing is that she also likes him. Um, they both be fighting towards their feelings because when he came in the bathroom, she allowed them to have that weird, odd, heated moment. Okay, until somebody beat on the door and was like, come on, get out of here. This, that, and the other, blah blah blah. So their little moment was interrupted, but it was very weird and awkward. And he was saying things that, for a minute, I was like, "Girl, do you got low self esteem? I know he rich and everything, but he giving you all the vibes that he don't like you. Why are we interacting? Why haven't we gone to like HR? She never went to human resources or anything. And I have heard stories about human resources not being probably what people expect it to be, but I still was like, girl, you just dealing with this stuff like it's normal, and it ain't. Okay. So after that, they kind of decide to try to ignore each other. But he still does the same thing, asking her into his office, forcing her to just be in his space and everything. So it's like, oh my God, quit, sue the company, something. But in my opinion, he wasn't giving that like awkward, goofy, I like you vibe. He was giving a awkward, hateful vibe almost. That there's no way, even if it was like work related, I gotta get up out of here, honey. This ain't for me. Anyway, so things go even more left, I guess, because at some point after this weird kiss encounter in the bathroom, he calls her into his office and they end up having sex. Okay. They end up having some, I ain't gonna call it passionate sex because I didn't get passion from it. But I think we are supposed to believe that it is passionate in the heat of the moment sex between the two of them. At his office desk, at the desk, and it is very like impulsive and spur of the moment. It's real not well planned out or thought out because she realizes afterwards that the door wasn't locked. That was foolish. And B, they did not use any protection. So that was one thing that I have to criticize about the book. I didn't like. They were like aware of it. She claims that she was on birth control and stuff, but everybody need protection in 2023. Okay, it is don't have to be fun to quote unquote read about and all that stuff, but it would be nice if more books encouraged and explored people using protection, especially if they're not married. You know what I'm saying? Especially if it's your first time messing with the MF and y'all don't even know each other. Y'all don't even like each other. Why? Anyway, so she leaves, going about her day. I think she might leave for work early that day or something. And later on, they do have a discussion. I don't know how he gets her phone number or any of her information, but he does. I would assume that since he owns the company, he can access certain things. The funny thing is that she never asked him, like, how did you find out where I stay? How did you get my personal phone number? never inquired about it. So I guess she assumed too that he had connections because he is the plug. Anyway, they do have a conversation about birth control. She said she's on birth control. He says that he has a clean bill of health and he hasn't had sex with anybody since his divorce. His ex-wife was the last person that he had sex with, apparently. So with that, they somehow managed to A, continue having sex, and B, continue having unprotected sex, and C, still not really like each other and get along. I don't know. It's weird. But what happens is after that, she takes off work. She takes a few days, little personal days, sick days, or whatever. And I think 2 days in, he just randomly shows up at her house with food and groceries, and I guess maybe some medicine because he thought she was sick. And she's sitting on the couch with 2 days of funk on her. Okay? She goes and takes a shower, introduces him to her roommate. The roommate is engaged and about to get married. The roommate and him, Max, they hit it off, but she is still like, why is he here? Why is he here? After she showers, some kind of way they end up talking and just professing their love for each other. Mostly him to her. She was still trying to say, nope, 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 this don't work. But he was basically like, girl, I wasn't asking you, I was telling you. So come on over here and jump on it. That was the vibe that I was getting. So at some point, she packs a bag, goes to his house, and throughout the story, it seems as if she rarely, if ever, goes back home. And I ain't mad at it, but he had his own place, a mini mansion that he lived in with a cat named Pumpkin. And this lady is scared of cats, or she don't like them or something. But at some point they decide that, we are a thing, we're a couple. And he decides that, I have to basically edit this no fraternization policy and just make it where people report stuff to HR. So that is what they did. They reported that they were together in consensual relationship, whatever, whatever, to HR, and they go from there. So as soon as they become semi-official, it becomes apparent that Max has been ignoring someone who was vying for his attention the whole time. So Summer wasn't checking for him. But Celia, who is like an old childhood friend, or their fathers are friends, were friends, that sort of thing, Celia has been all up in his face the whole time. And because he wasn't interested, he didn't notice. But other people noticed. This lady had brown hair and she dyed it blonde for him. And he knew she looked different. He was like, what is wrong with her? What's different? But he couldn't place his hand on it. And I'm like, if somebody dyes their hair from brown to blonde, that's a noticeable difference. That's not one of them things like, oh, you look different today. What you do? It's like, oh, I got on some extra blush or some extra highlight. No, this is a whole new head of hair. So he's not checking for Miss Celia. But Miss Celia is the type that's not going down without a fight. Okay? I'll let you read the book to hear more about Miss Celia if you are interested. Her name is not Miss Celia. She's a relatively young person. The lady in The Help, her name was Celia, and they called her Miss Celia. The maid, of course, called her Miss Celia. So when I hear a name like Celia, that's just where it goes, unfortunately. Anyway, they do encounter some issues with their relationship. The first issue is with Summer's parents. Summer's birthday comes up, and her parents are throwing her like a little backyard barbecue party, a little get together, a little kickback. And she brings her new boyfriend and forgets to mention A, that he's white, and B, that he's older than her, much older than her. It was very funny to hear or read her father's reaction. Apparently, her parents are only 45 themselves. How are you with a 41-year-old man? They are flabbergasted. Her daddy was flabbergasted. It was very hilarious. Another issue that they had, because her parents eventually got over that, but another issue that they had was the fact that Maxwell had the nickname as the sullen Sutton. So he wasn't well liked within the company. But he was kind of forced upon Summer's friends in a way, like, we've been talking about him behind his back, we this, that, and the other, and now you sent telling me y'all together? That's your man? Ew. So it made it difficult for them for a moment, because it's like, well, we can't talk like we usually talk. We can't, this, that, and the other, because that's your boo. And most people wouldn't want, their friends just dogging their man constantly. But Max kind of peeped that and saw it, and he made it better by doing little things, by doing little things such as, paying for their lunches and treating them to this, that, and the other. So eventually, as they all got their own love lives, and B, spent more time together, I guess you could say, more time outside of work, getting to see that Max did have more similar human qualities to them than he didn't. They, all kind of grew on each other, and things changed. And they got to see him as a real person, all that little lovey-dovey, mushy-gushy stuff. So overall, I like the book. I think you should read it, because I'm giving a lot, but I'm not giving it all. There were a few things that I didn't necessarily like about the book. They were not enough to be like, I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. No, because I do want to read some more by her. But, I can critique it a little bit, a little bit. So, one of the things that I noticed in the book, and it may have been done purposely, I don't know. It was done purposely, I know it was, but I didn't like it either way. He as a Max, was very intimidated by black men. So when I say I didn't like it because it was presented in like the worst way. But I thought about it, and I was like, I wonder if this is truthfully a thing amongst people who have partners of a different race, or who date, interracially. I could see how that could possibly be a thing, but Max in the book didn't have no chill, no cool, no, I don't know what the word is, but it was very obvious to me that he was intimidated by, I would say all men, but black men. There were a couple different cases. So with her friend Kevin, co-worker Kevin, like her work husband, Kevin is gay. Gay, gay. So he should not be competition to this man. You know what? They like the same thing. Hello. So he was not competition, but he still was very much intimidated by him. And I think initially, of course, he didn't know that Kevin was gay. He found out that Kevin was gay, but still, he was just, I don't know what it's called, showing all your cards or whatever. He was not cool about it. And then with the blind date that she had with Kevin's brother, it was never confirmed that Max did it, and it actually wouldn't make sense for him to have done it in that case, because he wouldn't have known who to do this to. But while they were on their blind date, the same time they had this random kiss in the bathroom, Camden's tires, 2 tires are slashed or flattened some kind of way when they leave the club. Now that one didn't make sense because how would he know which car the man had or this, that, and the other? But Summer also knows that he is a quote unquote powerful man and he got access to this, that, and the other. So he could have, I don't know. That didn't really work for me, but they left a question mark with that one. Lastly, David, Max's brother, wanted Summer to start doing more things with the company, to move up, to get some new experiences, and that sort of thing. So he had her going to meet one of the business owners that could be one of the business owners that could have been a potential new client for the company. So he had prepped her, had her get her stuff together for the presentation and everything. She had gone over it. She was confident she was going to go over there, leaving by herself to go do it. Max finds out that she's leaving, and suddenly he's like, oh, I gotta go with her. He cancels his own meeting. He drives her there. And he really is like manipulating the situation because she was presenting to a black man. And according to him, the black man was just eyeing her. He wanted her, this, that, and the other. He wants you. So in order to, I don't know what the word is, stake his claim, I guess. They're in the conference room. He's there, I guess, supervising, watching. And the other guy gets a phone call. He gets the phone call and they're still in the same conference room. While he's on his phone, the two of them are basically having some kind of heated, random, quote unquote, passionate moment. So he's there. Listen, think about a conference room. They're too close. The quarters are too close, all right? This man is fingering her. I'm assuming under the table. Either way, why is this happening? He is kissing on her neck and messing with her ears and this, that, and the other. Very unprofessional. Very, 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 very unprofessional. Especially with someone in the same room as you. Someone who you are trying to impress, supposedly. Someone who you're trying to, get them to join your team and use you as their marketing firm or whatever. He's doing this, and I was like, they didn't say, I don't think, but it must have been a conference room with 4 walls, because many conference rooms have, windows, like floor-to-ceiling windows. They may or may not have blinds on them or whatever. But if I was on the outside looking in, let's say a secretary or something on the floor, and maybe they have, windows and the blinds are open or no blinds, whatever it is, I would be like, oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. What kind of bullshit is that? Because that's all it was. It was really just unnecessary, but it's just very unprofessional. And I think because she is still young, she allowed it to happen. Like she got on him, I guess you could say, after the fact. But yeah, she should have and could have put a stop to it from the very beginning. She could have put a stop to it when he canceled his meeting to come to her meeting. You know what I'm saying? It was obvious to me that he was, he is insecure. And I guess you can give him, having a younger woman might make you insecure. I guess her being a different color and being around people that are of the same hue might make you insecure. I don't know. But at some point, you gotta either deal with that insecurity and handle things a little better, or, maybe that's not who you need to be with if you gotta feel insecure all the time. And unfortunately, I think that may If there is a part 2 or something like that, I think that may be a part of their story. Another thing I didn't like about the book, but I accept it for what it is, she ends up pregnant by this man. Pregnant. I guess we didn't see that coming with all the unprotected sex they was having. They was definitely doing it, and she ended up pregnant. And for her to be less than 25, pregnant by this old man, I was like, no. And I guess because it's typical. It's typical. So they do plan to get married, but she's still a baby mama as far as I'm concerned. You got a rich white man. You're trying to check all these, boxes. Successful, money, this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. Checking white is not a thing, in my opinion, but all the other stuff, But you still a baby mama. You couldn't get the ring first? You couldn't get the ring first, girl? Come on, I was rooting for you. We was all rooting for you. She didn't get the ring first, but they're gonna get married within 6 weeks before she starts showing and all that little stuff. I was like, still a baby mama. Check that off the stereotype. Baby mama. Anyway. The book does end basically on a high note. We assume they live happily ever after. At some point, they're going to get married. They have a baby on the way. They do have a breakup here in the book. Breakup, a little downtime of sorts. Miss Celia is the source of a lot of drama in the book. Definitely read it to find out what kind of drama Celia was putting out and willing to go through for this man whose radar she is not even on. Po thing. Also, her friend / roommate Delaney, Summer's friend / roommate Delaney, is engaged. Like I said, she's supposed to be getting married. At the end of the book, we get a little runaway bride situation, which was cute and funny to me. It was just hilarious. I didn't see it coming, per se, but I'm glad that it came, because, honey, it sounded like she was about to be in a loveless relationship for the rest of her life. Hopefully, we can get a part 2 or maybe a spinoff and explore more with Delaney, because Delaney might be a good match for David, Max's brother. So that would make her and Summer, if they, go happily ever after, that type of thing, they would be sister-in-laws. And they would already be friends, because I know in-laws can sometimes be hard. So they would already be friends. And their kids, future children, things like that, would be cousins. So that would be cute. This book does come with like a, what is it called? An epilogue? Like an extension or hint at what's to come for the couple. I will say I downloaded it, but it was hard to get to, so I don't know. I don't have the information. It apparently is downloaded on my Kindle, but it's not easy to access. If you read the book and you get access to it, leave me a message. Comment down below how you access that bad boy, because I was not able to. So to wrap things up, I like the book overall. I would recommend it to somebody to check it out. I think you should check it out. It was interesting. I definitely think you should check out this author. She is a black lady, looks to me to be black. Okay. And apparently this is the genre where she rocks at. She's got over 6 books with interracial romance as the theme. So she is a Boston native, a wife, mother, and a wine enthusiast. So in our book, Summer is also, I believe this book is based in Boston. I don't know, the city wasn't a highlight for real. But I believe it's based in Boston. There were a couple mentions of Florida and then California, maybe Chicago. I don't know. They was traveling a little bit. The brothers was traveling. Anyway, she is a writing enthusiast and also a reading enthusiast, and she is a new publisher. She's been writing for years, and I'm talking about the author right now, and will continue to write for many years to come. This is in her bio on Kindle. She is obsessed with assertive and confident men who will stop at nothing to get their women. Her stories are filled with love, passion, and humor. She currently lives in Chicago with her husband and 2 daughters. I definitely see that the guy was supposed to be perceived as assertive. I didn't see much confidence per se, but I guess some of the stuff he was doing, you have to be pretty confident to stand in it and stand in it. But yeah, I enjoyed the book, and I plan to read some more by Miss Evelyn Sola. If you enjoyed this review, please like this video and share with others who are reading enthusiasts like me. I'm assuming you, and I know Miss Evelyn Sola says she's a reading enthusiast too. This book was a great read, and I would give it like a 4 out of 5 stars. It could have been a little more saucier. It could have been a little more passionate is the word I'm going to use. But it was okay. It was cute. It was cute. And I do feel like there was some humor in the book. There were other things that were just kind of like, corny? Corny. A little corny, in my opinion, But overall, it was a good book. And let me tell you something. I have to let you know. I gotta let you know. I can't say 100% that there was no daddy in this book. Y'all, Summer's friend Delaney weirdly, oddly started calling Maxwell daddy. She was saying that he was a daddy. I didn't know he was a daddy. Maybe if they would have written it as Zaddy with the Zaddy, it could have gave a little bit more than what it did. But it did not give, in my personal opinion, in this book. But Summer did not call Maxwell daddy. So you get automatic points for that, okay? In my book. If you want to hear why I be on that daddy, I'll link the video where I first brought that up at in the cloud so you can see it. But that's just a personal critique of mine. Daddy in a lot of urban fiction and or romance. So we don't get no daddy in that way in this book, but we do get a little daddy, a little odd, weird daddy. And Summer had her daddy in her life. Okay? So maybe that's why she ain't gonna be checking for nobody else to be her daddy. She already got a daddy. I don't know. But either way, whether it's daddy or zaddy, you should still give the book a try. Check it out. It'll be linked in the description box below. And if you have made it this far, thank you very much. Thank you very much for watching/listening. Please like the video and share it again. And if you would, please subscribe to this channel where we're on a growth journey here on YouTube. You should come and join us. If you have a book that you would like for me to read or review, leave it in the comment section below. And definitely come back so you can get caught up in a book with Lauren, where we give book reviews and now even TV reviews, okay, that are for and of the culture. Happy reading, everybody. I will talk to you later. Bye bye.